Davante Adams has been a dominant force in the NFL for over a decade now. An early partnership with the great Aaron Rodgers saw him become one of the league's most elite route runners, and now at 32 years old, he's embarking on a new journey with the LA Rams, which gives him a great shot at getting the Super Bowl ring he deserves. But what's shocking is that he had to wait until pick 53 to hear his name get called, making him one of the greatest second-round steals in NFL history. But who were those 8 wide receivers taken before Davante Adams? And what happened to them?
With the 4th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Sammy Watkins, wide receiver, Clemson.
Now, the Buffalo Bills were the team to pick him, having traded up in the draft to secure his services, and he began his journey with a rock-solid rookie campaign. 982 yards and 6 touchdowns very much suggested that the Bills had found a talented playmaker to build around. I mean, Bills fans were so pleased to see their first-round wideout surpass the 1,000-yard mark as a sophomore, but Watkins hadn't quite lived up to the lofty expectations that came with being the 4th overall selection. So when he managed just 430 yards in 8 games in 2016 before suffering a season-ending injury, the Bills decided it was time for them to cut their losses and recoup any value they still could, trading him to the Rams. While 8 touchdowns are what you love to see from a new arrival, Watkins was only able to combine this with 593 yards for LA, meaning another change of scenery was in order. The change of scenery did find him actually going to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he actually remained a pretty supportive option and actually had the highlight of his career at this place. In his 2nd year in Kansas City during the 2019 Super Bowl run, Watkins was a crucial outlet for Patrick Mahomes, bringing in 14 catches for 288 yards and 1 touchdown, including 5 catches for 98 yards in the Super Bowl versus San Francisco.
Mahomes, Watkins, what a throw! Mahomes for Watkins, found a hole!
There would be no repeat of these heroics though for Watkins in either a Chiefs, Ravens, or Packers uniform, as his numbers declined from there on, but nobody can take away that miraculous Super Bowl run where he truly earned his ring.
With the 7th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Mike Evans, wide receiver, Texas A&M.
Now, like Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans has earned a Super Bowl ring, but I mean, for the 11-year career that Mike Evans has had, he's just been a mold of consistency year in and year out. 1,051 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2014 got Mike Evans onto the all-rookie team, and it would be another 1,000 yards in every single season since. Yes, all 11 of them. The 6'5" wideout is a quarterback's best friend, bullying cornerbacks at the catch point and using his large wingspan to bring in wayward passes.
Looking for Evans, he's got him! Blitz picked up, giving Mayfield time to...
His best effort came in 2018 when he hit a career-high 1,524 yards, earning him the 2nd Pro Bowl appearance on his career. The biggest achievement of his career, though, came 2 years later when a certain Tom Brady came into town. Playing with the sport's greatest quarterback ever, Evans reeled in a then career-best 13 touchdowns, which helped propel the Buccaneers all the way to the Super Bowl, where they defeated Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. For Evans, it was the high-quality prize that his high-quality career deserved, rewarding him for the years of consistency and all but guaranteeing his spot in the Hall of Fame. Ever since that magnificent achievement, the 1,000-yard seasons have kept coming, most recently in an incredible 2024 campaign in which Evans got the job done in just 14 games. This was the most dramatic of the lot, with the star wideout remaining on the field as long as possible and getting past the milestone on the final catch of the season in the dying moments of the regular season finale.
Rolling, Evans!
I mean, honestly, we all have to respect Mike Evans and just his entire career. He definitely is one of the most, personally for me, I think one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league, but the dude just year in and year out seems to produce. Not only that too, but I think considering all the other wide receivers that are taken ahead of Davante Adams, I think it's safe to say that Mike Evans is one of the only guys that you really could argue that should have been taken ahead of him.
With the 12th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Odell Beckham, wide receiver, LSU.
Now, as we all know, Odell is most known for his insane viral catch against the Dallas Cowboys.
And Manning's going to heave one. Is
there's a flag. Beckham, a one-handed catch. How in the world?
But it is important not to forget the rest of his achievements from the early stages of his career. Most notably tying the record for reaching the 4,000 yard mark in the fewest games in NFL history with 42. He also crossed the 125 yard mark 13 times over the first 3 years of his career, which also set an NFL record. In fact, the record setting began early for Beckham, when he tied Michael Irvin's 9 consecutive games with at least 90 receiving yards. These contributed to his incredible 1,305 yards and 12 touchdowns as a rookie, which won him the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award before improving to post 1,450 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2015, which stuck him on the second-team All-Pro roster. He then repeated as a second-team All-Pro player in the year 3 with 1,367 yards before a left ankle fracture limited him just to 4 games in 2017. 1,000 yards came again in another injury-affected season in 2018 before the Giants shocked everyone by trading him to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for an impressive haul of draft picks and players. Unfortunately for Cleveland, the return on value wasn't great. His 1,000 yards in 2019 contributed to a 6-10 campaign before he managed just 319 yards in 2020 before suffering another ACL tear. This heartbreaking frustration was compounded by the fact that Odell Beckham Jr.'s father was proving to be a nuisance on social media, complaining about his son's usage, leading to a messy divorce that saw the wide receiver waived in November of the 2021 season. As it turns out, this would be a blessing for Odell, who promptly signed with the LA Rams, with whom he went on to win a Super Bowl with. Beckham had far more success in LA, posting 113 yards against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game, followed up by 52 yards and a touchdown in the Super Bowl against Cincinnati. Unfortunately though, it wasn't all positives for Odell in that dramatic Super Bowl win, as he once again tore his ACL, putting a damper on the celebrations. I mean, as you could imagine, a third ACL tear very much lowered future expectations for Beckham, who posted 565 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens in 2023, before contributing a career-low 55 yards for Miami in 2024. By all accounts, it really does appear that Odell Beckham Jr.'s days of meaningful contributions are over, and he may not have the longevity or the consistent success of Davante Adams or Mike Evans, but at his best, he was arguably one of the very best to ever do it. And now, I mean, after OBJ2, the good wide receiver play just kept coming in the 2014 NFL Draft when Brandin Cooks was selected 20th overall by the New Orleans Saints.
20th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Brandin Cooks, wide receiver, Oregon State.
A broken thumb did restrict Cooks to just 555 yards as a rookie, but he had flashed some good potential, which was then on full display when hitting 1,138 yards and 9 touchdowns as a sophomore. Cooks had quickly gained the trust of legendary quarterback Drew Brees, popping up with another 1,000 yard season in year 3. And I mean, really, with the numbers that he was putting up, it really did seem like Brandin Cooks was going to be a New Orleans Saints for a very long time, but then ahead of the 2017 season, shockingly, the New Orleans Saints decided to trade him. It was the New England Patriots who snagged Cooks in a move that paid immediate dividends, as the former Saint once again hit the 1,000 yard mark en route to a Super Bowl appearance. It was the Philadelphia Eagles waiting for the Patriots in Super Bowl 52, but they would have to face them without Brandin Cooks, who left the game early with a concussion.
Keep that field wide open. Brandin Cooks. And he gets smacked down at the 40-yard line, taking some shot.
Despite the 1,000 yard effort, Cooks hadn't shown enough to convince the Patriots front office to keep him around, who instead sent him off to the LA Rams. By now, Cooks was known for his consistency and reliability at the wide receiver position, and he showed more of that when posting a career-high 1,200 yards in his first season in LA. However, signs of decline began to emerge in 2019 when he posted career lows of 583 yards and 2 touchdowns in 14 games. This motivated the Rams to move on from Cooks, trading him to the Houston Texans, where he got right back to his best, posting 2 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Unfortunately, that would be the last time he would hit the 4-digit milestone, as an injury restricted him to just 699 yards in 2022 before he was traded yet again, this time to the Dallas Cowboys, where he amassed a total of 916 yards across the 2023 and 2024 seasons. All in all though, you really can chalk up just Brandin Cooks to being a very durable and kind of reliable wide receiver when you did need a guy to produce, but he never lived up to the the expectations of, what we all know Davante Adams to now be as. Next off the board was Kelvin Benjamin, selected 28th overall by the Carolina Panthers, having played a role in Florida State's national championship run and standing at an imposing 6'5", 245 pounds. Benjamin entered the NFL with high expectations. He lived up to these in his rookie season when bringing in 73 receptions for 1,008 yards and 9 touchdowns. However, the opportunity to build upon that strong start was taken away from him when he tore his ACL in training camp before the 2015 campaign. Unable to play any part in the Panthers' incredible 15-1 season, Benjamin returned in 2016, posting a solid, not spectacular 941 yards. And ahead of that 2017 season, not really living up to the expectations, Benjamin was then traded to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo was hoping that they could rekindle the form that had made him a first-round draft selection, but had no such luck, with him failing to make an impact before being traded to the Kansas City Chiefs halfway through the following season. There would be no resurgence for Benjamin in KC either, as he picked up just 26 yards in 3 games played before being out of the league entirely in 2019. And I mean, truthfully, with Kelvin Benjamin being taken before Davante Adams, this definitely has to go down as a bust because Davante Adams was still on the board at this time. But I mean, even as we enter the second round of the draft now too, we do have to go over a couple of wide receivers that went before Davante Adams surprisingly, but never amounted to anything in the NFL. Marquise Lee was the selection of the Jacksonville Jaguars at 39th overall, viewed as a great value pick seeing as he won the Biletnikoff the year prior when posting 1,721 yards and 14 touchdowns for USC in 2012. Unfortunately though, injuries would prevent him from having any similar impact in the NFL, posting just 422 yards as a rookie and 191 yards as a sophomore. 2 seasons with over 700 yards in 2016 and 2017 did suggest improvements might be on the way, convincing the Jags to sign him to a 4-year, $30 million extension. However, recurring knee injuries meant he produced just 3 catches for 18 yards over the next 2 seasons, leading the team to cut him after the 2019 season, which was the last time he took a meaningful snap in the NFL. The same thing can be said for our last wide receiver taken before Davante Adams, with Paul Richardson heading to Seattle with the 45th overall pick. Injuries were yet again a big part of Richardson's career, with an ACL tear bringing an end to a disappointing 271-yard rookie season and lingering well into his sophomore campaign that produced just 1 catch for 40 yards. A brief resurgence in 2017 did see Richardson collect 703 yards and 6 touchdowns for Seattle, but this wasn't enough to convince them to keep him around, leading him to sign a 5-year deal with the Washington Redskins. The gamble for Washington did not pay off at all, with Richardson suffering season-ending injuries in both the 2018 and 2019 seasons and failing to post over 300 yards in either of them. With just 1,800 receiving yards to his name, this one goes down as another bust, particularly when you consider Davante Adams went off the board just 8 picks later. And I mean, as we all know now too, Davante Adams has made most of the wide receiver picks before him look incredibly silly. His 11,844 yards, 3 first-team All-Pro selections, and 6 Pro Bowls tell the story of a truly elite player. When at the peaks of his powers alongside Aaron Rodgers, Adams was one of the most dangerous playmakers in the NFL, proving his quality by also posting over 1,500 yards when traded to the Las Vegas Raiders in 2022. The only thing his career is missing is a Super Bowl ring, and now that he's teamed up in LA with Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and Puka Nacua, there's a very real chance he can get one now.